Now, autoblogs in the past have got a bit of a bad reputation because they are used in many cases by spammers. What I want to do is just show you some of the possible issues with them and how you can overcome them. Now, you do have to be careful with your autoblogs that they aren't classified as spam sites. If you leave footprints, if you make all the sites identical, you use the same template, and they're all just full of useless information, then they aren't going to do well in the search engines. Sooner or later, the search engines will work out that you've created a load of spam sites, and it will delist them all. And if that happens and it's your only source of income, basically you're screwed. You've lost everything. And don't think it won't happen. It has happened. Go and search any of the internet marketing forums and you'll hear all sorts of horror stories about how this sort of thing happens. I mean, several years ago there was what is famously known as the Google slap happened. This was, if you remember, it was about 3 or 4 years ago. If you searched for anything in Google, all you got was rubbish sites full of adverts and links to other sites. There was no useful information. Google was basically pointless. You couldn't find anything good in it. And then one morning, internet marketers woke up and found that their network of these, rapidly created sites that had been flung up onto the internet had disappeared. And people literally, and this is 100% serious, people went from, $100,000 a month or $10,000 a month incomes to zero overnight. Their businesses were destroyed because they're just focused on creating these, mass generated sites, use scrape content, and their businesses were ruined. So whilst autoblogs are good, take steps to make sure they don't get classified as spam sites, and also create other sites as well so that it's not your only stream of income. It's never a good idea in business to have all your eggs in one basket. So you need to take some steps to ensure that they're not classified as spam sites, and that's what this video is about. So when you're creating your site, if you think about your end user, think about their needs, and you create a site that basically gives them some useful information, you're going to do okay. You want to avoid being classified as a spam site because you could get your site delisted from the search engines. If that happens, then you would have to rework the website, put lots of unique content on it, and go crawling to the search engine gurus, the people that run them, and beg them to let your site go back in and that you've changed your ways. It might be a bit of a struggle, but they've got no need to let you back in. They can turn around and go, nope, not interested, and not let you in at all. Or the absolute worst case scenario, and this is one that you've got to hope doesn't happen, is you get blacklisted. And basically when this happens, it means that your domain has become useless and you may as well let it expire. There's no point in having a domain. It's not going to do well, it's never going to get ranked again, and basically the search engines will just ignore anything linking to that domain. So you want to really avoid that fate. So what you have to do is ensure that autoblogs still provide valuable information. So I know that these are going to be scrape sites and going to be taking content from other sites and rapidly created, but you still have to think about providing valuable information. If you can do that, then obviously that's going to help you a lot. What you need to do is you need to mix up a combination of unique content, PLR content, and content scraped from sites like Amazon, article directories, Yahoo Answers, etc, etc. So you need to mix them all up really to get the best content. Making sure that you've got some unique content on there obviously takes you a step away from the spam site and will help the search engines to realize your site's valuable. My personal preference is to always make sure the homepage is unique at the very least, and that way people are going to see that it's unique content. The search engines will see that it's unique content, and hopefully there's not going to be any issues with the site. So if you want to avoid being classed as spam, you need to make sure you don't leave a footprint on all of your sites. Now, a footprint is something that is common to all of your sites, something that makes it very easy for someone to identify the fact that your site is an auto-generated site. So in the old days, you'd have software that would create a site and it would say at the top in the meta tag, created by this auto creation spamming software, which of course is dead giveaway. So you need to make sure that you don't leave a footprint, and part of what we're going to talk about now is how not to leave any footprints. So by using some unique content, you are avoiding footprints, because of course one of the footprints of a spam site is that it doesn't have any unique content. So just having a little bit of that on your site, that instantly takes you a big step away from spam sites. So a good bit of unique content will help you. One thing you can use is a Uniqifier plugin. Often you have to buy these, and basically these are plugins that fool the search engines into believing that the content on your website is unique. The downside of these is, of course, that the search engine owners are well aware of them, and of course are constantly buying the new versions of the Uniqifier plugins themselves, messing around with them, and then making sure that their search engines go past them. So you have to continually update Uniqifier plugins. You're talking sort of at least once a week, and if you've got 1,000 sites, that's quite a lot of work to update them. So a Uniqifier plugin quickly becomes out of date. It can be useful, but only if it's going to be automatically updated. But again, you can get around that by using some unique content as well. So if you make sure that every page, every website has a unique meta tags, keywords and title, now you're going to have to use an all-in-one SEO plugin or Platinum SEO plugin for this, but you make sure that you have a unique set of meta tags and keywords, then again that's going to help, because a lot of spam sites, they just use the same title on every page, the same meta tags and the same meta keywords. So again, that's going to help you remove yourself from being a spam site. You also need to vary the templates and layouts. A lot of people that create spam sites just use the default WordPress template. So every site, have different layouts, different templates and so on. Again, you don't want to spend too long on them because these are rapidly created sites, but vary the different templates. Another thing that you can do is don't host too many auto blogs on a single hosting account. If you look at sort of 7 to 10, maybe slightly more at the tops, then again, that's not going to give the game away. If Google comes along and they sort of look at your IP address and they see that there's 800 auto blogs on that one IP address, and the 800 blogs on that one IP address, and they all look very similar, that's going to give away a little about the whole it's an auto blog. So you can create multiple hosting accounts, just the one cheap ones, and create a number of auto blogs on there. You can of course use the same hosting to create a number of your other websites as well. And you want to switch hosting and IP addresses, so you have different hosts. You can buy IP addresses for a couple of dollars a month from a lot of places, so you can use different IP addresses, and that's really going to help you to vary your the way your sites look. Do sort of up to about 10 per IP address, and again your sites are going to look different. They're not going to look like they are spam sites. So these are some techniques for avoiding being classed as spam. Now later on, towards the end of this video series, we're going to talk about how some tips for success with auto blogs, but I want you to take this into account, what we just talked about, as we go through creating the auto blogs and you start creating yours. Avoid leaving a footprint. Don't just use scrape content, use some unique content, use unique meta tags and keywords, vary the templates, and don't host too many auto blogs on a single IP address or hosting account. And all that is going to help you to step away from spam, and it's going to mean that your site isn't going to run the risk of being classed as spam, and it will have a much longer life. Remember, you don't want to create an auto blog, get it earning, and then sort of a week later find that it's been delisted. You want to build these up so that they have a reasonably long shelf life. And obviously that's going to be much better for you and for your income. So you may want to write some of these techniques down that we just talked about, these tips, but keep them in mind when you're creating the sites. They're very important, and they're going to make sure that your auto blogs do much better than perhaps auto blogs created by other people. Yes, it may take you a few minutes longer to do these, but you're going to have the benefit of longer living sites, and that's ultimately going to create you a much better income.